Pennsylvania!
The 33rd biggest state in America by land, Pennsylvania has the 5th most people and has played a very important role since before we were a country. Home to Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, and Pittsburgh, the Steel City, Pennsylvania continues to be a very important part of the United States of America.
My mommy's from Pennsylvania. Okay, Pennsylvania has lots of cool stuff there. Love Dutch Wonderland and the Lehigh Valley Zoo. There's axolotls there. Harrisburg is the capital.
Feel free to use the worksheet that we have created that is aligned with this video, found in the description below. Keep watching to learn about Pennsylvania and to discover our world in a meaningful way. Independence Hall might be the most important building in our country.
Think about what happened there. The signing of the Declaration. The creation of the Constitution. The United States was made in that building.
Completed in 1753 as the Pennsylvania State House, it served as the capital of Pennsylvania until the capital was moved in 1799. And as the professor mentioned, it was the site of the signing of both the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, the two most important documents in American history. Abraham Lincoln laid in wait at Independence Hall for 2 days after his assassination, where an estimated 300,000 mourners were sent to see him. A convention held at Independence Hall in 1915 was the formal announcement of the formation of the League to Enforce Peace, an effort to bring countries together to prevent war. It led to the League of Nations and eventually the United Nations.
All we are saying is give peace a chance. Don't forget to tell them about the Liberty Bell narrator.
Good point, Professor. The Liberty Bell, a symbol of freedom, was the bell atop Independence Hall that rang for important reasons such as calling for a session of Congress. It remains a symbol of American freedom to this day.
Pennsylvania is at the mid-Atlantic. As you can see here, it's right in the middle of two climate zones.
To the southeast, in areas like Philadelphia and Lancaster, you'll find humid subtropical climate with hot and humid summers and cold to mild winters, similar to the states extending as far south as Florida and as far west as East Texas. Much of the rest of the state is mountainous and is humid continental, known for its more defined 4 seasons. Pennsylvania is bordered by New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and West Virginia. It also borders Canada in the northwest.
Pennsylvania made lots of steel.
The rise of the Pittsburgh steel industry began when Andrew Carnegie opened the Edgar Thomson Works Mills in 1875 and began mass producing durable and expensive steel by using the Bessemer process. His company later became a part of the larger U.S. Steel Corporation, which made much of the nation's steel during the late 1800s. The industry made Pittsburgh into a major city, giving it the name of the Steel City. It's also why their football team are named the Steelers, named after the steel industry.
Pennsylvania gave us great food, like cheesesteaks.
The cheesesteak center of the world is on Passyunk Avenue in South Philadelphia, home to Pat's, who is credited with inventing it, and Geno's, their neighbor and longtime competition. There are many places throughout the city that may have the best cheesesteak, but a favorite pastime in the city of brotherly love is deciding which iconic place has the better cheesesteak, Geno's or Pat's.
Let us know which one you think is better in the comments.
What other types of food comes from Pennsylvania, Professor?
Italian ice, Strombolis, bubblegum, the banana split. Hershey Kisses? I'm getting hungry. Let's move on there later. But I do not want to eat gum. Why is it called Pennsylvania?
William Penn was given the land of Pennsylvania by King Charles II in 1681. Penn named it Pennsylvania after his family name and all the forests he found when he got there. Sylvania means forest land in Latin, rounding out the name. He wanted it to be a land of religious freedom, and as a result, different groups such as the Quakers and the Amish came to the new colony so that they could freely practice their religious beliefs. Because of this, there are a number of different interesting groups of people still living in Pennsylvania today. We will explore one of them later in the episode.
The Battle of Gettysburg was in Pennsylvania.
The Battle of Gettysburg took place in July of 1863 and with a northern wind signaled the turning point of the Civil War. It was the northernmost battle of the war and the largest battle in the history of the Western Hemisphere. Pennsylvania became home to an important part of the war because the South's general, Robert E. Lee, decided to invade the North, with the Union pulling out all the stops to keep that from happening. After 3 days of fighting, the battle ended with a desperate attack by the South called Pickett's Charge. The charge failed, the Confederates retreated south, and the war continued for almost 2 years before the Confederates surrendered. About 1 million people visit Gettysburg every year to see places like Little Round Top, Devil's Den, and Cemetery Ridge.
7 years ago, our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
Good point, Professor. After the battle, President Lincoln traveled to the battle site and gave the Gettysburg Address. One of the best-known speeches in American history, Lincoln honored those who gave their lives in the battle, shared the devotion to keep the country intact, and identified our country as being led by a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. One of the great early Americans and founding fathers was Benjamin Franklin. Born in Boston, Franklin moved to Philadelphia when he was 17 years old and became the most respected man in the American colonies, especially among the Europeans.
Benjamin Franklin was the only founding father to sign all 4 of the documents that made the United States.
As a statesman, Franklin signed and helped draft the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. He also signed the Treaty of Alliance with France, gaining France's help in the Revolutionary War, and the Treaty of Paris, which ended the Revolutionary War. Franklin was also America's first postmaster general and ambassador to France.
He became rich from printing and publishing.
In the news business, Franklin accomplished a lot. He created the first published political cartoon in the United States. His drawing, Join or Die, was published near the beginning of the French and Indian War and was an early plea for the colonies to unite. Franklin also published the famous Poor Richard's Almanac. Some of the phrases he used, such as "a penny saved is a penny earned," is still in use today.
Don't forget what he did for the people in Philadelphia.
As a civic leader, Franklin founded Pennsylvania's first fire department and the Ivy League University of Pennsylvania.
Didn't he invent stuff?
Franklin invented the lightning rod, bifocals, and the Franklin stove, among other things.
Is that all?
No, sir. As a scientist, he was really important as a key figure in the American Enlightenment, not to mention his role in physics, with his discoveries and theories regarding electricity. Because of all of these things and stuff I'm sure we're forgetting, Franklin is one of the most important Americans in history and is remembered in so many ways, including being on the $100 bill.
It's all about the Benjamins, baby!
Other notable people that have to be mentioned include 2 presidents, James Buchanan and current President Joe Biden, who despite representing Delaware as a senator, was born in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And finally, Betsy Ross created the first American flag while living in Philadelphia. The Betsy Ross flag, as it is now known, had 13 stars and 13 red and white stripes, and is the first of its kind to resemble the flag America has today. Her story is remembered as that of the working woman during the American Revolution. Pennsylvania Dutch is a language and a people. They were formed by German immigrants settling in the state of Pennsylvania during the 18th and 19th centuries.
If they were German, why were they called Dutch?
The first settlers described themselves as Deutsch, which means German in the German language. Over time, their version of German has changed and it is different from the current German language. Today, about 400,000 people still speak Pennsylvania Dutch in the United States and Canada.
Those people who speak it are Amish or Mennonite.
During the time the German-speaking people came to America, many weren't from present-day Germany at all. Most actually came from Switzerland, as Germany wasn't a country at the time. While Germans of other beliefs came as well, it's those who are Amish or Mennonite who still speak the language today.
Dutch Wonderland is one of my favorite places in the world! There's dinosaurs there, Raw!
The Kids Amusement Park can be found in Lancaster, the heart of Pennsylvania Dutch country. The park's theme is a kingdom for kids, and it has a castle facade as you enter. Be sure to check out the High Dive Show and Exploration Island. Groundhog Day is a famous tradition held every February the 2nd in the United States and Canada.
Groundhogs are the best at predicting the weather.
Actually, it is believed the groundhog is right only 40% of the time, 10% lower than if you simply flipped a coin.
Why do we wait for the groundhogs then?
Groundhog Day started as a Pennsylvania Dutch tradition whose European ancestors did something similar with the badger. While there are other Groundhog Day celebrations, the main one is in the town of Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. a town of 6,000 people that see as many as 40,000 visitors each February 2nd. At 7:25 on that date, the Groundhog is released. Since its 1887 beginning, Punxsutawney Phil has predicted a longer winter 103 times and an early spring 17.
What a pessimist.
His success rate may not be as bad as it sounds, however, as there is no set guideline for what makes a long winter or an early spring. Perhaps the most famous groundhog, Punxsutawney Phil, is right more than we think.
Many people believe Phil was named after Prince Philip of the UK.
Thousands of young baseball players from around the world travel to Williamsport in central Pennsylvania every August for the Little League World Series. A competition for the best 10 to 12-year-old baseball players in the world, the event has been held since 1947.
Put me in, coach, oh yeah, put me in, I'm ready to play today.
The tournament, which is televised on ESPN, is broken up into two brackets, American and International. The tournament concludes with the American champion playing the international champion. American teams have won the whole thing 36 times. Taiwan has won 17, and Japan has emerged in recent years to win 11.
Some of George Washington's most famous moment came in Pennsylvania.
On Christmas night in 1776, Washington, desperate for an American victory, crossed the Delaware River and into New Jersey and surprise attacked the Hessian soldiers at the Battle of Trenton. Although the battle itself was small, the victory gave the Americans hope and belief that they could win the war.
It's important to believe in yourself. Let's fast forward 1 year. The place, Valley Forge.
George Washington and the Continental Army set up a winter camp at Valley Forge near Philadelphia in the winter of 1777. The soldiers were not properly supplied with clothing, housing, or food, and as a result, up to 2,000 soldiers died while at Valley Forge.
This doesn't sound so good, folks.
The conditions almost ended the war, but despite the setbacks, the Continental Army came out of it much stronger than they were before getting there. One thing that Washington did that saved lives at Valley Forge was he became the first general to inoculate his army. The beginnings of vaccination, inoculation is giving people the sickness in small doses to help their bodies become immune to the sickness. By inoculating his troops with smallpox, he likely saved many. Washington also brought in Prussian officer Baron von Steuben to properly train the soldiers, who became much improved while at Valley Forge. During this time, France had also agreed to ally with the Continentals. Due to this alliance and the training the soldiers received, the Americans were able to go on and win the war. Many see Valley Forge as the birthplace of the American Army. And finally, Pennsylvania is home to 15 amusement parks, too many to highlight in this section of the video.
First one we look at is Sesame Place.
The only theme park based on the children's show Sesame Street, you can meet your favorite characters ranging from Elmo to Cookie Monster. It's also the first theme park in the world to become a certified autism center.
Sunny days taking the clouds away.
Dorney Park in Allentown traces its history back to 1860 and is one of the country's few remaining trolley parks. The biggest amusement park in Pennsylvania, it has 7 roller coasters that you can ride. Knoebel's Amusement Resort near the center of the state is America's largest free admission amusement park.
Did you say free?
You have to buy the tickets to ride, but it costs nothing to get in. In 2014, the Travel Channel rated Knoebel's as one of the top 10 family-friendly amusement parks in the United States. And finally, Hershey Park can be found near Harrisburg, the capital of Pennsylvania. Originally built by Milton Hershey, yeah, that Hershey, as a leisure park for the employees of the Hershey Chocolate Company, the park boasts 76 rides and is adjacent to Hershey's Chocolate World, a visitor center attraction that contains shops, restaurants, and a chocolate factory-themed tour ride, where visitors can get their picture taken and receive a piece of chocolate at the end of the ride.
It's always good to end with some chocolate. Well, there you have it, folks. Pennsylvania. Please like and subscribe and eat more chocolate. But if you don't wanna, that's okay too. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play.